Hello and welcome to a brand new series, The Story Behind the Success. I'm your host, Vimla Rajkumari. In this series, we will be bringing you together stories of inspiring women entrepreneurs, especially from the northeast of India. Women who have created a mark for themselves with their sheer grit and determination. The extensive research and planning, the immaculate execution of their business plan, or creating the business out of their passion and creating a sustainable, successful business. To kickstart our series, today we have with us none other than Sanjita Ahibam, founder of Manipuri Weddings. Manipuri Weddings, with over 120K followers on the Instagram page, today is the digital go-to platform for all wedding vendors and new ventures in and around Manipur to reach their target audience. Manipuri Weddings, the magazine, is the only magazine in the northeast of India that curates everything wedding, tourism, fashion, and much more. Let's welcome Sanjita Ahibam. So welcome to the show, Sanjita. We are delighted to have you with us and hear the inspiring story of the success of Manipuri Weddings. Would you like to start off by sharing with us how the idea came about?
Thank you so much, first of all, for having me here and for this wonderful platform. I'm looking forward to a lot of things from here, your mentorship, your guidance, and then, connecting with a lot of people, networking, and then learning from everyone in this field. As of Manipuri Weddings, I think it started off like I always say, it started from a WhatsApp group where we used to discuss about, weddings and the dresses and then the makeup and all these things. It's not just about that we discuss just weddings. We used to discuss about other things, but then one of the main topics that we were very eager was, the handloom industry, the makeup, the potloy, the photography, and how the wedding industry was, taking a turn from, just being a wedding with a ceremony to moving towards more of an individual celebration, a celebration of making connections and coming together. So that's when we also realized the gap in the market, where we as a generation who look for, who always look for information before doing anything or planning anything, we always go into, Google and then check for information. And then we are always typing, okay, where do we get the best photographers? Who are the photographers or who are the makeup artists? So there was this huge gap. I mean, we knew they were photographers. We knew they were makeup artists. We knew they were potloy makers. But there was this huge gap of, how to compare them, how to reach out to all of them, how to find them on a particular platform where we could compare them, analyze them, and also get feedback, as in the kind of work they were doing. The thing that we had access to was what they were putting out. So this group, where the WhatsApp group that I am talking about, we always had this thing about, this time this makeup artist, he focuses on a different type of makeup, which is very different from the bollywood makeup. So he went for a nude makeup or this makeup, something which was setting a particular trend or moving away from a trend and all those things. So this were the kind of information I thought, and also my friends and my cousins also thought were, very relevant for us, especially when we had come to that age where, we always want to look good. And not only as a bride, but then like when you're going for a wedding, there's always this thing about, being trendy and, making that mark and stuff like that. So I'm not saying like I'm always trendy, but then that was the whole notion of, what is available to us. So this whole idea of, filling the gap, filling that space where people could get information, the database where you have, all the information, even regarding an arangam or a gifting solution or furniture, as in what is available in the market, who are the brands that are making what kind of furniture, and also, wedding decors and stuff like that. that was the whole, there was a whole thing that inspired us to bring this together and then put it as Manipuri Weddings. I mean, of course, we were thinking of in a larger platform, and we were thinking, we should make it Northeast Weddings and then, do things like, the entire Northeast. But at that time, I think I was not as ambitious, one thing. But then the second thing was I was also looking at the feasibility in terms of the information that I could gather, as in I could always work around here and then ask as many people as possible, or talk to the makeup artists themselves or the pottery makers themselves, and then try to gather as much information and put it out there. So there was a thing. But then again, once I went into this, I realized that there was also a lack of platform for these people, the vendors who were actually into the business. They also wanted to advertise their products. They also wanted to advertise themselves, their work, and things like that. So I think it was the need of that hour, as well as my interest and my team's interest in creating this database where all the information could be available and made accessible free of cost.
Wonderful.
So that was the thing. So that's when, that's how, Manipuri Weddings happened. And then, I mean, till now, I think we have over 500 plus vendors. And we also have, people coming in from our
team. Consists of the original WhatsApp group, or, when the business was
part of my team, as in me, my sister, this was my sister-in-law, as in my husband's sister, are part of that WhatsApp group I'm talking about. And part of there were 2-3 WhatsApp group at that time. So another team, another WhatsApp group that we have, they are friends. So I told them that this is what I'm starting, and they have always been enthusiastic in supporting me, and they always feed me with information, even if I miss out on something. So more or less, yes, and not officially as such, but officially my younger sister, and my sister-in-law are still a team.
An idea from a WhatsApp group. How do you ensure such an idea converts into a successful, sustainable business?
Initially, when we started, we were just talking about filling the gap, making sure that there is a database, and that the database is available to people. And since I come from a digital marketing background, I knew a little bit about how the digital world is working, and how Instagram is working, and how are the influencers, all those things. Monetizing their work and stuff like that. So I had a little information.
So at this point, can you just take us to your background a little bit?
I come. Okay, it's a diverse background. Okay, I did my post graduation and MPhil from University of Hyderabad in literature. And my MPhil was on a totally different area, where we are where I'm talking about poetry, Northeast poetry written in English. And then I did enroll for a PhD, but then I realized that academics was something which was not my cup of tea. To be very frank, I know that the exposure that cultural studies and literature that gave me, and my research time at the University of Hyderabad has given me, is immense in terms of the kind of outlook that I have, and then my research capability right now when I am building this platform and all those things. But as I was doing my own research, I was also working. So I worked at Thomson Reuters. I worked at a few other places. I worked at Blueberries, and then I was doing a lot of because as a researcher, you never have enough money. You always have to have side income coming in. So you do research, editing, and then you take up all sorts of assignments, from translations to all those things. So all these things, I think, gave me the whole this whole idea of how the identity of the Northeastern people, as represented in the media, as in the mainstream media or the world, is very different from what we know as ourselves. So I think to a certain extent, Manipuri Weddings is also about me and my team talking about who are we as to what we are being represented as. I mean, of course, Armed Forces Special Power Act is very important. Of course, the the violence that has gone through the history that have come across is very important to us. But also, we are also very aware of the culture, the tradition, and the kind of the individuality that we have as a person, as a Meitei, as a Kuki, as a Naga, that we are. So we that I think Manipuri Weddings is also about portraying that, okay, this is how our narrative goes. This is us narrating ourselves. So I think that has come from my research background. But again, that all those things are in a very what you call theoretical frame. So how do you? But then I mean that theory is not going to give me money, as in terms of it's not going to fuel the passion that I have to do something. So it had to be monetized in some way. So I use whatever digital marketing strategy and information that I had when I was working for all these, petty jobs here and there, and with Blueberries and Thomson Reuters and all these places. I just put in all that information into Manipuri Wedding. So it's the mix of whatever, I got from my research days as well as my working days. So that's how like Manipuri Weddings has been able to convert from just providing information into a digital media platform where you can advertise, you can talk about, you can portray, advertise your products, your services, and all those things. But also you can get free information as to wherever, whatever is available, whatever is accessible in Manipur.
So was this the plan that you actually started off with, or did you have to change along the journey?
No, as in like when we started off, I had this thing in at the back of my mind in terms of like I'll have to give credit for this to my husband, as in like my husband, he is in real estate and he's a marketing guy. So he was like, since you're doing this, since you are like so adamant on doing this, as in adamant in the sense I had quit my job, and then I was like, okay, I'm seriously doing this. I was working, I was being very well paid, and I was like, I'm just quitting whatever and I'm following my passion. And he is very much into following passion, but he was also worried about whether I would be able to carry this forward and fulfill the dreams that I have. So he was like, how are you going to monetize? So we were constantly brainstorming, and then by then I think we had around 10,000 followers. I was already into 1 month of
did you just start off with Instagram page?
We just started off with the Instagram page. Yeah, we just started off with an Instagram page, but then in the back, at the behind the scene, we were also maintaining a database. So I was constantly updating information, and all my WhatsApp group friends, they were the ones who were feeding me this information. I was in Hyderabad then. So I was like, constantly asking them for information, phone numbers, and then talking to a lot of people. And like I'll go for work from 8 to 8 in the morning. I would start off from home to like by 8:30, I would be back from home. We'll be having dinner. In spite of cooking and all those things going on, I would be also noting down information and all that. So my husband was kind of worried. So what does this lady have to do? So he kept on asking me, is it really going to happen? As in, are you sure you're going to do this? And then I said, I just quit my job. And then I told my boss that like I have to leave. I have to do something else. And that's when we were talking about strategy as to how we are going to fill in this gap, as well as how we are going to try to monetize this. I mean, it was a very difficult thing to actually monetize, as in put it into. I mean, putting it in paper was not. It was very easy, but then into practice, it was something of. I mean, it was a different thing altogether. It took us like almost 1 year to convince people that Instagram or social media or digital media is a place to be. It's only very recent that, where people are willing to pay for advertisement, they are willing to be advertised, they are willing to be talked about the way we are talking about people. In the meanwhile, I think we have done a lot of free service to a lot of people, in terms of, we have in order to, convince them, we have, put up ads for a month for free, and then we have to show the conversion charts as to, how much of an information this how much of a footfall they're getting from here, or how much of conversions is happening from here, and all those things. So it took us 1 year to actually I mean, I don't really want to name names, but then, like, we just charge like 250 rupees from certain people. And we were really happy with, that 250 rupees coming in every day. So those were the things. Then I think by now, I like last 2 years, in spite of the pandemic, people are more aware. I think it's because of the pandemic that people have become more aware as to how much the digital world is going to affect their business, as well as their brands. So all those things, the changes that has brought about, to a certain extent, it has been positive for us.
So, did you start working with a business plan with financial projections? And if you did, were you able to meet it?
No, I was very sure that this was going to take time. I like my husband was also very he was always making all those numbers, calculating if you're charging this much, and then you're paying your employees this much, and then you're putting in so much money here and there. So, are you sure you'll be able to But like it's always been this thing that in the next 3 years we are going to be. So I think to a certain extent, financially, of course, yes, we haven't met the projection that we had to a certain extent, but the kind of reach, the kind of impact, and the kind of environment that we wanted to create for us to sustain, I think we have been able to create that.
Yeah, and then a digital outreach story cannot be a one day story. It has to be a sustained, continuing effort, right?
Like consistent, like we have to be very persistent.
Yeah. When people see successful stories, they always think that these businesses are born with a silver spoon, but they really do not know about so many things that one has to go through. So would you like to, I think you already cited one.
I have already said that. Like, basically, the important thing was convincing people that, we are moving into a digital world. I mean, of course, the shopping malls are relevant. Of course, going out for shopping with your friends are relevant. But people are going to look for information. Before going out for shopping, we are a generation who are always going to look for feedbacks. We are always going to look for reviews. It's not like, I think the generation now are more conscious about where are they putting their money. Very conscious in terms of what kind of added value am I getting.
I think now with this generation, they are buying more into the stories of brands than actually.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think the stories behind the brand is so important now, because the millennials and the Gen Z are, I think, buying more into the purpose of a brand rather than anything else.
That is one thing which I was trying to convince my vendors, especially. So when we at Manipuri Weddings, we just don't advertise, but we also have a consulting where with our vendors, where we tell them how they can, how their branding story can take over, change or take over, or mold themselves into when they are making a social media page or when they are starting off new. So that is something which we do as a consultant as well. So during that time, I always tell them that you need to have a brand story which is relevant relevant today in terms of whether you are going to be eco-friendly, whether you're going to talk about your identity as, a local product, as in locally made, sustainable, and all those things. I mean, all going to build into your brand. So that is something which I have always tried to convince our vendors also with. So I think that has taken over in the last, I think in the last 2 years. Last 2 years, we have seen a lot of success story in that line.
That's really wonderful to know. So yeah, from what I hear from your story, the initial journey has been rough, but today I think you are in a comfortable space, and and so would you rate yourself as being at the position where you wanted to be or better?
I would have, I would have want to be in a better position, because the last 2 years, I mean, it has been really rough. If it had not happened, I think it would have been slightly different for Manipuri Weddings also, in terms of the digital space that we wanted to create. As in, we wanted to get into websites, and then making the magazine digitally available and things like that. But when we were not able to work it out, those are the hiccups that we had faced in the last 1 year. In spite of the pandemic, we were able to bring out the digital magazine. But then again, there were so many technical difficulties, because you can't really sit down and brainstorm and then work it out. And working online, as in working on the phone, is still very new. Working from home is very new. So working from a home space where you have so many other restrictions and obligations, all those things have, I mean, not just for me but for the entire team, it has been slightly difficult. So I think I would have wanted to be in a much better space than this. But I mean, I'm happy because the world is opening up in terms of the idea that we were looking for, the space that the marketplace that we wanted to build.
What would you attribute is the hallmark of Team Manipuri Weddings for the success that it is today?
Originality, I would say. Originality in terms of content. Of course, we use pictures by different people, photographs, and all those things. But originality in terms of the content that we provide, originality in terms of the way we present the content. The team who's consistently been researching and working, I mean, my writers and these people, I mean, I have always pushed them into finding out what is important, what is relevant, and it shouldn't clash with the ideology that we have. That we have to stick to information which is not biased, which is not misogynist, which is not against the environment, which is not something against any ideas of humanity. It has to be very human. So we always have this thing about even the ads. We recently had to take down an ad because the ad talked about Aunpod being mandatory. So we had to take it down because, of course, my team had asked me, and then somehow I missed it. And then there is another team before it goes into on Instagram, or before we put up on the story, we were we always have this team who will be looking into each and every detail about the content and all those things. And then there was this thing about I didn't really I just went through the content, and then I missed out on the, what do you call, the very apparent idea that these people were projecting. There was this kaina, and then there was this furniture set, and then how and my editor connected it, saying that Okay, Jason, sir, don't you think this is only talking about how women should bring own boat, and then how own push how lavish your own boat should be or something of that sort? This is very misogynist. It's like this is against your whole idea of equality and things like that, and this is totally patriarchal. All the patriarchal ideas put together and all those things, and then I'm like, okay. 10 minutes into the ad, we received a message. People, okay, they are always watching you. We received a message from someone, and then she was like, we wouldn't want a platform like yours to promote such ideas of our board. So we got a screenshot in the group, and then I was like, okay, I'm really sorry. I didn't really read these two together. So let's put it down. So we have to be very conscious about whatever information or whatever ideas that we are putting forth. Because
and I think that's such a beautiful lesson you're sharing. I think as small business owners, I think we all want to grow our businesses to be bigger businesses.
Yes.
And it's so important for us to be able to state our mission and vision. And here we're talking about the values of the organization. So I think when we start off something, it's so important to actually chalk out what is our mission, what is our vision,
I think that is one thing that has kept us afloat, as in the sense that in spite of the fact that we stopped working for around 6 to 7 months last year when the pandemic happened, people knew, the values that we were already the values that we already believe in and we invested in. So people just came to us and asked us, we didn't have to go behind vendors, or we didn't have to run behind people to come and advertise with us and all those things, because they know that there are certain things that we believe in, we stick to that, and then we don't really sell out ourselves for easy money.
That is so important. I think many
many
business gurus say that it's your mission and your vision which is always your compass. When you go astray, it's your mission and your vision that brings you back on track. And the values of an organization, like you said, is so important to share that and communicate that with each team member. Like you said, you missed it out, but because you had shared your values as an organization with them, they knew what the value system of the organization is. And in fact, when you missed it, they were the ones who pointed it out. So I think that's
a nice thing about my team. They are always like on me. This is what you said.
And these are the lessons that we as small business owners need to learn so that we can grow like other big corporates. Yeah.
I think I think with Manipuri Weddings, that's where we have been, that's how we have been very close, as in very close knit as a team. As in, I have people who are working for me part time, like my photographers and some graphic designers, and then writers. Some of the writers are part time, but some of those people who are permanently working with me, they have understood the kind of values that we are going to share, that we want to share. So we are always working in terms of like the same vendor. We just told them, okay, this is how your ad is projecting. These are the ideas that we can we feel is being communicated through your ad. So if you could change a little bit and all those things. So, and you need to have a team who has who is always on their toes and looking out, and also be able to give suggestions, not to turn away vendors, but then help them grow as well. So I think that is the influence that we have been able to generate over the last 3 years. Especially I always give this example to my team also. When we started off, we were very conscious of the kind of thing and the kind of environmental impact weddings have. As in a big scale wedding. Excuse me. My post-COVID hasn't.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So when we started off, we were always worried about the carbon footprint, and the impact that wedding has on the environment. So we started off this whole idea of eco-friendly gifting, eco-friendly weddings, and things like that. I think that was in 2000. In the beginning of 2019 Feb weddings, there were lots of weddings lots of people who were consulting with us for their wedding, people who wanted to invest in written gifts, and then they didn't want to just they didn't want to use their money for something, just some celebration, but then good use of money. So we started this whole idea of the whole campaign, as in we planned it by saying that it's important that now whatever money that we are putting in our wedding, if it could go to something good rather than just lavishly throwing away food, or putting up plastic decorations which are going to end up in the landmines, and then they don't pollute and things like that. So we started this whole post, and then it went on and on, and that generated a lot of people who came, who were like brides, men who wanted to go for eco-friendly weddings. They asked us, how can they how can they go about gifting solutions where which wouldn't, like, for example, in a Maite wedding, during a hygiene pot, you have the hygiene pot box, the sweets. 50%, I'll tell you, 50 to 70% of the sweets are thrown away, the food wastage. So they wanted to, we keep all this data, and during the Ningol Chakova, we'll invite 500 people. That 500 people will leave at least some food on their plate, and the amount of wastage that goes there. So we told people, I mean, how this has been creating a lot of ruckus and a lot of problem, and disposing the waste itself had become a problem in Imphal itself. So these are the things that we started putting up on Instagram, and then people really bought to it. And then when we started consulting, we gave them ideas, and then we had vendors. We started getting people who were working in the eco-friendly, in a very eco-friendly way, and then who were reusing decoration, reusing gifting, and then gifting in such a way that which can be like gifting a plant as a return gift rather than just sweets. So all those things started happening. I mean, of course, it had other repercussions, as in we had a lot of people coming in and telling us that, don't you think you're spending a lot more money in this? But then I think
I think it is so important today as an organization to have a conscience, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that is where I think Manipuri Weddings stands apart from other
great in paving setting the right examples, because sustainability is so important. Otherwise, there's nothing going to be left for our grandchildren. If we don't take care of sustainability issues, environment, our consumption patterns.
Yes,
things are going to be bad, and I think you're setting a right example with all of that.
But okay, and but then I'll tell you what were the negative repercussions, because I have to tell you that also. When we started off this, people started labeling us, as Manipuri Weddings is only for the rich.
But the thing is, when you are trying to create a change, you will come across challenges. But I think
yes, exactly.
But I think what's important.
I think we took it. We took it very graciously. I think we took it very graciously. We were very happy. We were very
we have to be able to stand true to our values. Just because someone says something, we cannot change our values. We have to be true to our values. And I think, not only as businesses, but I think as individuals also, that's so important, to know your values and to stick with your values. Integrity is so important. So I'm so glad that Manipuri Weddings is setting such good examples. And, let's...
I don't know how far it has impacted, but as in... over the last years, the weddings that we have consulted, we have tried to, give people as much as, different ideas as to how to cut down on their carbon footprint during their weddings. And not only carbon footprints, but then their wedding should be something, a celebration of themselves, a celebration of the union. And also, if you are able, if you have the capacity, give back something to the society. It should be whatever that you're in, whatever money you're investing in, at least 50 to 60% should go to the local businesses. That's what we have been telling them. Local is what is going to take you everywhere.
Absolutely. It's I think it's so important for us to, support local, grow local, because that way, carbon footprints are going to get reduced.
Exactly.
Yeah. So amazing work you're doing there. And you've shared your inspirational, successful journey. Before we end, could you share three things, when one is running a business, what can they inculcate to run a successful business?
I think the first thing is to get organized, organize your thought, organize your value system, organize your ideas, put it into a place where, you can always fall back on. And then, because sometimes in the journey, when you are when you are far along in the journey, you tend to dwindle a little bit and then forget. So like, you need to have that organized set of values and value system that you come from, the ideas that you have set out for yourself. So that is very important. And the second thing is being persistent with whatever ideas you have. The third thing would be making connections in terms of not just with your vendors, not just with your clients, but also connections within your business community. So creating a safe space for everyone, where you can always, fall back and, get ideas and then, discuss. I think these are the three most important things that I have learned.